Up next on Parent Connection, an interview with Chris Ostendorf and Renee Scott from Partners for Success. Welcome to Parent Connection. I'm Ann Weaver from the Office of School and Family Partnerships, and today I'm thrilled to welcome Chris Ostendorf and Renee Scott, who are 2 of 6 team members at Partners for Success. Welcome, Chris and Renee.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so happy you're here. First of all, let our viewers know, what is Partners for Success? We've heard the name, but we're not really sure what it is.
Well, we're excited to be here to share just that information. And Partners for Success is a collaborative team representing Anne Arundel County Public Schools and Maryland Department State Education, Special Education. Our goal includes education and serving as a friendly, non-partial liaison between schools and families.
So you actually are employed by Anne Arundel County Public Schools through the Department of Special Education.
Yes, we are employed by Anne Arundel County Public Schools,
Okay.
Special Ed.
Great. And you work with parents. What exactly is your role with parents?
Well, our role is being sort of a go-between. We are liaisons or partners, if you will, in the educational decision-making process for the families for special education. So we hope to be their first resource that they're going to come to.
Okay. So if I were a parent and I had some concerns about my child, could I come talk to you about whether or not perhaps special education was right for my child? Would that be something that's part of your role?
Absolutely. We can go over what special education, what the services are for special education, and how a parent might consider the strengths and weaknesses of their child and whether they require that specialized instruction.
Okay. And suppose my child were already in special education. Is there a role that you could play in that case?
Absolutely. Again, we strive to be a resource. There's so many resources within Anne Arundel County Public Schools, as well as the community, and we hope to gear them to those specialized resources that they need. Excuse me.
Sometimes I'm sure it's intimidating for a parent to think about coming directly to the school to talk to a teacher. And I'm sure there's some tremendous advantages to coming to someone like you who are parents, you know, just like they are. You know, I know there's a new direction with Partners for Success. Things have changed somewhat. Can you kind of explain now what your mission is and how some of those changes have happened within Anne Arundel County Public Schools?
Yes, we were very privileged to participate in extensive training to make us have the ability to be more involved with this process. And some of the training included learning about the special education process from start to finish, including specialized instruction, the IEP process, as well as we had training in conflict mediation and active listening. And listening is one of the biggest things that I found that we are doing, is listening. Parents need to be heard. The other things that we are keeping up to date on all the current state, community, and school resources that parents can have access to help support their path for special education. In addition, we are learning all about the legal rights and responsibilities of families and of the schools, and so we can support parents in understanding their rights and the responsibilities. With all this training that we've had, we feel like we're going to be very equipped to help parents as they navigate this process in special education, which can be very complex. We're working also closely with the schools. Our contacts through the schools are the special education resource teachers in each region. And they let us know when they think a parent would benefit from talking to one of the partners to help understand the special education process and give them the power to be active participants in their children's special education plan. Another big component of our new program is to provide workshops. And our goal in the future is to be able to provide 3 to 5 workshops in each feeder each year. And with the team consisting of 6 partners, we'll be able to reach so many families.
Absolutely.
You mentioned training. It sounds like it was really extensive training that you went through. Who provided that? And you talked about some of the topics that you covered. And over what period was the training? Where was it? And so on.
A lot of our training was held right here with Anne Arundel County Public Schools Special Education Department. Our law workshop that we had was with Anne Arundel County. We had conflict mediation. Just a lot of it was held right here in Anne Arundel County Public Schools.
And tell me a little bit about, in general, your backgrounds. Were you school personnel before you started this? Were you parents who had children who had experience with special education, or were you all just interested citizens?
No, there's a combination. We have 2 retired special education teachers. Chris is a retired special education teacher. Another partner is also a retired special education teacher. And then we have parents that have children that have IEPs or 504s. Myself, I also have a child that has a 504 plan. And also I worked within the school system in support positions, and I was previously a liaison in another county.
Oh, okay, the whole variety of experiences. And I'm sure, because I know you all are housed in the same office, you're able then to support each other, with questions or concerns you have about how a meeting might go or how a meeting went.
That's been one of the fun parts of the job, is to brainstorm with each other when a parent comes to us with a concern on how we might be able to best support the parent and listen to each other's ideas to provide the parent with a good plan.
That's wonderful, wonderful. You mentioned delivering workshops. Tell me sort of what kinds of topics you may cover and what your plans are for that.
Right, well, up to this point, we've had about 3 workshops already. We've had transitioning from high school. We've had advocating for your child and also understanding the IEP process. But in the future, as Chris has mentioned to you, we did a survey, and parents themselves have given us suggestions for workshops that they're interested in. Some may be on behavior issues, again, advocating your child homework, helping with homework. So we've got a lot of plans for the future, and next year we're really going to move to having a lot of these workshops in each feeder.
Yeah, that's a huge variety of workshops. That's a lot of preparation for you all to do.
We've been working hard on that, and each of us we kind of took a topic that we had an interest in, and we're developing the workshop, and then we'll share them.
That's wonderful. Just as a side note, our office has developed a number, in fact 20, of what we call parent workshops to go, which we provide to schools. Anyone can do any of these workshops, and they're ready to go with the PowerPoints, the handouts, and the lesson plans. So perhaps at some point we might be able to collaborate, because a lot of these topics are ones that I know general population would love to be able to do, and perhaps it would be a way to get your word out a little bit more.
I have seen some of those
Good.
PowerPoints and workshops, and definitely I've been using them as a resource.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, that's what they're there for.
Yes.
So that's good. You mentioned that there are 6 of you. How do you divide up your work or divide up the county? Is it random? Is it by request, or do you have another system?
So our partners is one of the special ed teachers and one parent, and it's divided up by the regions as far as geography.
Okay.
So my partner Kathy Flaherty and I have the Meade, the Arundel, the South River, and the southern areas.
Yes, they're each in different regions. I believe there's at least 3 regions.
There's 3 regions.
Yes, I know Chris is new to the area. And
So I'm still learning the geography.
Yes, and we have another partner that's actually from Virginia, and I come from Baltimore County. So I'm learning the different areas as well. But our region is Region 3, and it includes Northeast and I believe Old Mill, and I think, I'm not familiar with the third one, but it's the Region 3. So it's good that we're in each region because I feel like we can branch out and help more families that way.
And Jessica and Leanne cover the second region, which is Glen Burnie, Broadneck, Severna Park, and Annapolis.
So that's an interesting organization. You have a teacher or former teacher,
Yes.
and then a parent. So you have both of those perspectives
And we can balance each other.
off. Yeah, that's a
Yes.
wonderful organization. You mentioned workshops as one of your roles. You mentioned talking with parents one-on-one. What other kinds of things can you do to help parents?
We can help explain the IEP itself. I mean,
Okay.
a lot of times there's so many acronyms within the document itself. So we can come and sit with the parent before their meeting, or we can meet with them after their meeting and just help them go over. And prior to the meeting, we can formulate an outline in which they can have questions to ask at the meeting, because that could be intimidating, not knowing what to say.
Well, sitting down as a parent, I went through IEP process with my son, and you have all of these school personnel sitting there, and it can be very intimidating. So it's nice to have someone that you've formed a relationship with, who can kind of help you a little bit. Can you also do you also attend meetings with parents?
No, we do not
Okay.
attend, but
Okay.
as I said, we're there to help before the meeting or after the meeting.
Answer a lot of questions.
I think one way we can really help them before a meeting is giving them the vocabulary words that they might need and make them feel empowered to be full participants in the meeting by having them prioritize their concerns and put it down on paper so they feel organized.
And also the communication skills of how to,
communication.
how to ask questions and, how to advocate. I'm sure it's not easy when you as a parent are so emotionally invested in your child.
That's actually part of our understanding the IEP workshop is how you can phrase your questions.
Yeah.
Another way that we're reaching out into the community is to participate in different resource fairs. Resource fairs that are county-based and also school-based resource fairs.
So can you give me some examples of things that you have done to get out into the community?
Well,
I know you came to our family involvement
Yes.
conference last November at Anne
Absolutely.
Arundel Community College, and that was wonderful. You were just inundated with people
Yes.
asking questions and looking for information.
It was wonderful because I was new to the county, so I was able to put a face to the parents, and they came up with many questions and that we could later refer to, and it's good because we can get their number, we can get their information, and see them later and talk.
And follow up.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And you were going to say.
We also participated in the CCAC, the Special Education Citizens Advisory Council fair that they had in the beginning of the academic year. My partner and I are going to a fair in Glen Burnie that's also for the ESOL community, the Spanish-speaking community. So that's another example. We're also participating in a parent meeting that occurs monthly at Central Center.
Oh,
so
very nice.
those are
At
the
Central
kinds of
Special
things
School.
that we're participating in also.
And then you get calls, I'm sure, all the time from parents.
We're starting to get our calls.
You are. I was going
yes.
to ask how,
Uh-huh.
whether it's kind of starting slowly, whether you're overwhelmed. What's been your experience so far?
I think it's starting slowly. I believe the special education department wanted to have us to be prepared
Right.
and ready for these parents. So
Right.
our training was very important. And then when we're ready, we reached out to our CERTs and to the schools.
Your
and
certs are
the special education resource
team.
teachers. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right.
And we actually have a sheet, one of our resources that we give out to parents. It has all of the acronyms that are famous in special education that we do hand out. And I also would like to mention our lending library.
Oh,
We have a lending library that's housed at our Point Pleasant Annex, which is our resource center. And there, parents can come and take out books. We have videos, pamphlets. Not only parents and families, but also educators can come and
that's wonderful. That's
books.
wonderful. Do you have a list of resources available anywhere at this point, or would I, as a parent, really need to come and take a look at what you have?
You would need to come in and take a look. We have a list, but it's not online yet. But we have a wealth of resources. And then also we can help you sit down with you online if needed. Maryland State Department of Education has a wonderful wealth of online resources that we can help you with.
Wonderful. If I, as a parent, had a question and I wanted to talk to someone, how would I go about doing that?
You can call us
Okay.
on the telephone line, or you can email us at partnersforsuccess@aacps.org.
Okay.
In addition, we're almost ready to launch our website, and the connection will be there through the website also.
Wonderful. And what is your phone number at Point Pleasant?
222-3805.
Okay. So we have a phone number, we have email, and pretty soon we'll have a website. That's wonderful. And what hours are you open?
That's a good question.
Well,
We kind of work part-time hours, but we
Okay.
like to have someone at the office, at least in the morning hours. And then we're always available to check messages via any phone that we have. So
Oh, okay.
we're checking messages constantly.
All the time. Wonderful, wonderful.
and we would plan to, our goal is to answer those phone calls within 24 to 48 hours in addition to emails, responding
That's
to the
wonderful.
emails.
Yeah, it's nice
we are
for some.
part-time employees.
Okay,
so,
okay.
yeah.
It's nice for someone who calls to know about how long it would take. And because you're part-time, you're not there all the time to be able to answer.
Yes.
Wonderful. You mentioned earlier, before we move on, that you will work with parents who have questions about IEPs as well as 504 plans. I'm sure that there are a number of viewers out there who are thinking to themselves or thought to themselves, I'm not totally sure what IEP means, and I really don't know what 504 means. Could one of you or both of you take turns explaining what an IEP is, what a 504 plan is, how they're different?
That's a good question. Chris, coming from your educational experience?
An IEP is an individual educational plan, and that's exactly what it is. You are found eligible for special education because of a documented concern in your learning, and that cannot be addressed through the general education curriculum. So your individual educational plan is a specialized curriculum designed to meet your individual learning needs. A 504.
Could I just interrupt? I'm
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you. And there are specific categories of
14
disability.
categories.
Okay,
Absolutely.
that would. And could you just
An
give us a couple
example
examples?
of categories include learning disabilities, intellectual disabilities, attention deficit falls under the category of other health impairment. There are medical categories. There's autism. So those are some of the probably more well-known. There's multiple disabilities category.
Okay. And there are specific requirements for
To-
each of those in order to receive services.
You must meet a criteria under each
Okay.
category that's very explicitly defined.
And of course, that would be the kind of thing that you would be able to counsel a parent on. You know,
That's
I
true.
could come to you and say, I'm really concerned that my child has not learned to read yet. What can special education do for me? And you could say, well,
This is
this
what
has to happen first, and then that has to happen, and we need to, you know, make sure that it is something that would fall within the special education category.
and that's for our workshop. Kathy and I have our workshop, and that's exactly what we
Which you go
address.
over.
Yes.
Wonderful. So now tell
And
me
what
about
does it look like
Okay.
for a kid? Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So a 504 is a student who requires accommodations. That means that they can access the general education curriculum, but they just might need physical accommodations. And an example of that would be sitting close to the front of the room so they can make sure they can hear and attend, or extended time because it might take them a little bit longer to process the information and get their answers out.
Exactly.
So that would be for a child who is having some difficulty in the classroom, either seeing, hearing, paying attention,
Attending,
finishing
yes.
work, or whatever, does not qualify in terms of the special education requirements for an IEP, but still with a few changes
In their
would have
environment.
success, in their environment
Yes.
would have success. So it's a whole different kind of plan.
And it is not
Exactly.
considered special education. Specialized instruction
Okay.
is not required.
Right. They may have a documented disability, but as she said, they do not need an IEP. They may
Okay.
be maintaining their grades, perhaps, you know, at a
Okay.
certain level where they don't need the specialized educational process.
The involved process
Right.
and all of that, with a few changes can be. So you would be able then to counsel a parent to say, we need to contact this office if we think
It's a
the
504.
we need to contact this other office if we think there may be an IEP in this child's future.
Yeah, after listening to the concerns and looking at the patterns of progress for the student. I think one way people put that helps understand the 504 is the 504 levels the playing field for learning.
That's actually an excellent
Yes.
analogy to get out there so people can understand. We have about 5 minutes left, so we have plenty of time to talk, but I want to hear some personal experiences with parents in just a minute. But one other question before that, where do you sort of see Partners for Success program going in the next couple of years?
That's a good question. Well, as I think I said before, we want to be the main resource. We want to be the first point of contact for parents. I think we're trying to be proactive because a lot of the issues that a parent may have, maybe they could have been solved earlier in the plan, if you will. And so we're here to be available for the schools, for the families, to help alleviate some of the pressure that the family goes through, and also the school.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, you know, it can be so frustrating as a parent to know your child is not progressing the way he or she should, and you just don't know who to go to, and you get more frustrated and more upset. But to have someone to talk to, I think, is really important, and it sounds like you're beginning to build your parent base, and with so many programs, it's really getting the word out. You know, it's a word of mouth kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't think, did we mention also that we do have a newsletter?
No, tell me about that.
Yes,
say.
we have a newsletter, and
Okay.
we're doing it monthly right now.
Okay.
And we have it available for the schools. When we get the website up, it will be there as well. We've sent it out to the special education resource teachers, And so we have a current edition, and during the workshops, we have it available there. So it's just a matter of getting it out to the schools and having it dispersed that way to the parents.
Good, good. What kind of information would be in the newsletter, just in general?
Well, the contact information of how
Okay.
to reach us, our individual, we each have individual emails as well as our General Partners for Success email account. Information about the workshops, information about community events. I think we have something coming up with the autism.
Rise for
fair.
Autism.
Rise for
Oh,
Autism.
okay,
And we're planning to have a table there,
good.
and that's a weekend event. So we're not also just limited to Monday through Friday. If there's some type of event that comes up during the weekend that we feel we can benefit families, we'll try to be there as well.
You can flex your schedules, which is a real advantage and wonderful for the community, because that, of course, is what people need. Can you just briefly, we have about 3 minutes left, if you could just briefly take a minute or two to tell us about an experience you've had with a parent that was especially meaningful to you, because that's really where it is. You know, it's the relationships that you build with parents.
It is, and it's hard to do that in a short time. But Kathy and I just worked with one parent who had moved from a different county, and in the fall, and as her son was progressing during the year, she realized she wasn't sure she had all the information she needed to make sure that the transition was going smoothly, and she was a little bit concerned about his progress. And we were able to sit down with her and look at what Anne Arundel County provides through their special education and how the IEP was transferred from her county, and it was actually how it was developed to meet his individual goals. And then we also gave her the planning sheet so she could write down her concerns and put them in a way that they were positive, and call his special education teacher and have her most important concerns in a question form and address them with her
And
son's
have a
team.
productive meeting, because she had a
Yes,
plan.
and so she had a plan to
Wonderful.
go in there.
And how
we
about you,
followed.
Renee? Can you?
well,
We have about a minute.
My region partner, Aretha Perry, and I, we had a similar situation. We actually, when we had our workshop, we met a parent that was new also to the state, and her son was newly enrolled in high school. And so she had a few questions about that transition process, because a lot of parents don't realize it starts early. It starts about age 14,
Yes.
branching out from high school. So you have to start early, and we were able to give her some resources and communicate with her and get her information for follow-up.
That's wonderful. Those are the kinds of things that all parents, that resources all parents wish they had, as they navigate. When you have a child, you don't get a manual saying how to raise
Right.
that child or a manual to say, what schooling will look like. And to have people who are able to step in and say, well, call this office, or you need to know this, or yes, that is a valid concern, let's do this together. Wonderful. So about 30 seconds left. You have just a quick last minute to say something about where you're going, what you're doing.
Well, I'm just happy to be a part of the program. I love working with families. I love being a help of service to them, and I hope
Right.
that we'll be able to do that in the coming year. and
Wonderful. Well,
months.
thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us today. This has been a wonderful conversation. Join us next time for Parent Connection, when we'll have a new guest. Thanks for watching.
Today I come to you with exciting news about school meals. School meals offer students a healthy school breakfast and lunch. Every day, students are offered unlimited choices of fresh fruits and vegetables. Students are encouraged to select up to 2 cups of fresh produce each day at lunch from our unique salad bars. You may also monitor your child's school meals online at MyPayments Plus. This is a convenient tool we offer to all parents to make managing your school meal accounts a simple process. To learn more about MyPayments Plus, simply visit www.mypaymentsplus.com or call 877-237-0946. Each year, families have the ability to apply for free or reduced price meals. The application to apply is online. Parents, you may log on to applyformeals.aacps.org. The process is fast, easy, convenient, and it's accessible from any computer. Remember, if you received meal benefits last year, you must complete a new application each school year. Thank you for this opportunity to provide you this valuable information pertaining to school meals. School meals fuel your child's brain and body for academic excellence. If you have any questions regarding the healthy school meals offered, please contact me at 410-222-5900.